Welcome back. I'm Tanya E. Williams, and this is Behind the Book, the series where historical fiction authors share the inspiration, research, and stories behind their novels. Today, I'm so glad to be joined by Janet Skeslien Charles, New York Times bestselling author of The Paris Library and Miss Morgan's Book Brigade. Her latest novel, The Parisian Chapter, takes us back to Paris, following Lily Jacobsen, a small-town girl from Montana who's chasing a life as an artist and who finds her footing at the American Library in Paris, where she uncovers a thread connecting her own story to the woman who first inspired her to dream. It's a novel about friendship, art, and the kind of home you carry with you, even when you've left it behind. Let's chat with Janet about The Parisian Chapter. How might readers resonate with the protagonist?
Well, my character, Lily Jacobsen, is in her 20s, and she's really trying to figure things out. I personally found my 20s to be a hard time. It's exciting because all the doors are open, but it's also terrifying because all the doors are open. You have so many possibilities. And what I've seen lately is that these questions don't end. I recently was talking to a woman who was in Paris in her 80s, and she's starting to ask herself all of these questions that Lily Jacobsen in the book, The Parisian Chapter, is asking. And so I think a lot of women of all ages are starting to ask what they want to do, how they want to spend their years, how they want to spend their lives. And it's really exciting to think about. So I think this is what I think of when I think of Lily, is her just trying to figure things out, just like the rest of us.
How would you describe the protagonist's journey?
I think that Lily's journey is she goes from a point of being very naive and thinking her way is the only way of doing things, to meeting a lot of people. She has a job as the programs manager at the American Library in Paris. And so while she's there, she meets people from a lot of different backgrounds, and thanks to these kinds of discussions with other people, her eyes are widened a little bit, and she starts to understand that there are many different ways of doing things. Her way is not the only way. And because she's so stubborn, she ended up in a place that her best friend, Mary Louise, called Lilyland. She just was very, I don't want to say self-absorbed, but like a lot of us can be from time to time, where we're so worried about what we're going through, we're not really seeing the larger picture. And so really the book is about her. She lives in Paris, and the goal of the book is to have her really be able to not be so nervous, not be so worried, and to really enjoy her life and to enjoy Paris.
What do you hope readers take away from the story?
Readers, when they read this book, I hope they will really have a great discussion. I've been in some book clubs, and if everyone loves the book and if everyone agrees completely, there's no real discussion. Everybody's like, oh, it was so great. Oh, the characters were so wonderful. Oh, I loved it so much. And of course, we as authors want that for our books. We want people to love our work. But I personally love a knockdown, drag-out fight. I want people to really argue about what the characters are doing, whether they're right, what the reader would do in that position. And so I've put some things in the book. There's a little violence. The main character is a little violent in a certain time, and I'm wondering if the readers can understand her anger or her frustration and how she allows that anger to get the better of her in that moment. At another time, she takes something that does not belong to her, and I'm wondering if readers can empathize with that desire to take something back and to have it belong to them again, or if they should just let sleeping dogs lie and move on with their lives. So these are kinds of the things I'm hoping that readers will discuss amongst themselves. I think it would be a good book club read for that.
Do you have a favorite character in the story?
So this is a book that the main character is Lily Jacobsen, but there are 9 other very short narrations. And as a reader, I'm someone who does not like multiple points of view, and I do not like multiple eras. I like to sink in with one character, have me lead me through a time and place through their eyes. So it really surprises me when I write books from multiple points of view. It just is something, I think it really helps in this case because Lily is so young and she's so inexperienced that if you saw the time and place of Paris in the 90s through her eyes, I think the reader would have a very limited view. And so in writing this book, I had a librarian who actually hates people. I have a director who feels like he was swindled into the job. I have a writer in resident who is really suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. And weirdly, I think one of my favorite characters to write was the angry librarian who hates people, because I personally enjoy people. So it's always fun to write the opposite of who we are, but take those little bits of ourselves. There are moments of anger and frustration. And so to give those to Lorenzo was a lot of fun. It was also really fun to think about the director of the library, who has a lot of weight on his shoulders. And that's something that Lily can't see. She can only see the short term. She can't see the long-term stress that her boss is dealing with. And so I hope that I was able to counterbalance those 2 points of view. And I hope that readers can empathize with both. In the Paris library, the real life librarian, Dorothy Reeder, who kept the American Library in Paris open during World War II, said that it's through books that we see through other people's lives, and other people's eyes. And so that's really what I was hoping for in this book. So long answer to the short question. I loved writing everybody.
Is there a favorite line from the novel that resonates with you?
Yes, towards the end of the book, there's just a really short passage, and I'd like to read it. There's much I'd like to tell you. Sometimes you do the right thing for the wrong reason. Sometimes the minutes pass slower than years. Sometimes tears say more than words. Even the strongest people stumble before finding their footing. But hold on, friend, hold on. So I think that's my favorite line of the book.
Janet, thank you so much for spending this time with us and for giving us such a generous look behind the Parisian chapter. If Lily's story resonated with you, that pull between the life you dreamed of and the one you're actually building, I hope you'll pick up a copy and spend some time in her Paris. And if you haven't read The Paris Library or Miss Morgan's Book Brigade yet, consider this your sign. Thank you as always for being here. If you enjoyed this conversation, I'd love it if you'd like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It truly helps this series reach more readers who will soon be discovering their next favorite read. Until next time, happy reading.